Hey everybody, we're live. So we are Sara and Brandon from theharmoniousduo.com, and we wanted to come in and spend today talking to you guys about something that we know is very valuable to you guys, which is if you're attempting to build a business online, which anyone who has a business, that's what you should be doing. One of the big issues that you could be struggling with is, bumping up your exposure in search engines and increasing your organic search traffic as a result from being able to be exposed in the search engines. And so we know that a lot of people struggle with this. We struggled with it for a long time, and we recently it's a constant growing process. It's a constant learning process. And so as long as you remember to approach your business when you're building it online with that mentality that it's going to be a constant learning process, then you're always going to be positioning yourself for the best results, because things change on a daily basis. And in order for you to keep up with it, you have to be willing to accept the fact that things change on a daily basis. And, so we recently came across something, really cool that we're excited to come and share with you. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and share a little bit about our story so that anyone who's on here, who's here for the first time, can get to know us a little bit and figure out, where it is we're coming from, who we are, why it is you should listen to us, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and let Brandon introduce himself first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so everybody, Brandon here, one half of the Harmonious Duo. And my story begins when I was 16 years old. And I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit and just very unsure about how to actually take advantage of what that meant. And so what I started to do was fish in my brain about what I could do to get money every single day based on my efforts. And the closest thing that it came to, within grasp for me at that time was restaurant work. And some of you guys might giggle when I say that, but some of you might actually say, oh, well, you know what? I thought the same thing. Because when you're younger, when you're, 15, 16 years old, and you're trying to get that money because there's no other way, according to you, you don't know anything else better than that. You end up going through a time in your life where anything really counts, nothing matters. Sorry about this, guys. And photos rigging. And so it doesn't really matter about what you're going through. I just know that I wanted to get that entrepreneurial money. I wanted to be able to get money every single day. And so with the restaurant gig that I choose as my career, I should say is my career, because I did it for a decade, and it pounded me into the floor. Every day that I would go into work, I would have to pray and just cross my fingers that I would get the best section, and I would actually get the, people to tip me for what I was doing for them. Now, whether or not I felt there was value there in providing a reliable service with a smile on my face and giving them what they actually wanted, they didn't find it necessary to tip me what I felt I was worth. Sometimes you would get 5%, 10%. Sometimes you wouldn't get anything at all. And or
the favorite when you have
them just walk out on you.
10 cents.
Or they just walk out on you. They don't even pay their bill. I mean, how many people in the restaurant industry know what it's like to just have to cover a tab that somebody else went to your spot and ate at your section and then walked out on you? So now you're actually out money.
Not only are you out tips, but now you're out their bill.
Yeah, and you have to tip out on that too most of the time. It depends on who your manager is. But yeah, it's terrible. And so I found that after about 5 or 6 years of me doing this, there had to be a better way. Well, my entrepreneurial spirit called me into real estate, which I had to work part-time because I didn't know exactly how to build a business. I didn't know what I was doing. So
why is that? I think that's important for them to know why that is.
Well, I didn't have any leadership. So I just knew that I knew that selling real estate because it was a family business of mine that I was getting into, but the family wasn't really there for me like I thought. And I just wanted to be there because the commissions were big. It was fun to negotiate, and I wanted to be in control of my time. So me just knowing that part of it, I didn't know actually what it caused to build a team. I didn't know what it took to actually negotiate. I didn't know what it took to market. I didn't know actually anything about real estate. I just knew that I could pass the test, which I did. And I knew that, okay, if I sold a house, I would get paid. But I didn't really understand the relationship behind it, the relationship part of marketing and how really you have to get in front of these people. And there's just so much behind everything like that. And so that led me back to working full-time in the restaurant gig. Well, I continued to do that, like I said, for about a decade, which led me into my poker career, which got me away from my restaurant gig a little bit, but it still left me where I was still working. It didn't leave me fulfilled as an entrepreneur to where I could spend my time with my family as I wish, which was my whole goal when I was 16 years old, trying to find the one thing that I could do that I would be able to provide value to that would get me paid so that I could spend my time as I wish. So I find myself at the age of 25 now, playing poker, and I find this beautiful woman, and I'm still working in the restaurant industry because, like I said, I was still I couldn't do anything else. I didn't know what I was I didn't know where I was valuable at. I didn't know what I was worth. And I actually would wake up in the middle of the night after I met her, just with night terrors, thinking about, what am I going to do when I'm 60 years old? How am I going to be different? If I'm not doing anything different today, how can I expect things to be different tomorrow? And when you have that kind of scare within you, it was a moment where I just said, you know what, enough's enough. I have to take a leap of faith and I have to do this thing full time. And so I did that. And I just said, you know what, forget this. I'm going to go and do this poker thing full time. So I did. And it left me, in the first 2 years of meeting her, we were in complete joy. We were in complete joy. We were making tons of money. We were living the lifestyle that we'd always dreamed of. And she was a stay-at-home mom, or she was a stay-at-home person at the time. She was not a mother at the time, but there was no need for her to have a job. And that was always my goal, was to work smart enough and hard enough to be able to provide for her in a way that would allow her to, if she wanted to pursue her dreams, pursue her dreams. And then there came a time where she became pregnant with our first daughter, which just messed up my game. You know what I mean? When I was playing poker, I was just, I was out in my zone. And it leaves you in a sense of like almost guiltiness when you end up being at the tables or doing your things away from the family that once caused you or created a lot of happiness and a lot of fun in your life, but it takes you away from your family. Once you have that family built, all you want to do is be around that family. And at least that's for me.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, at least that's for me. I mean, a lot of people can agree with that, I think. And in order for me to do that, I had to build a business. And playing poker, as fun as it was, and as much as an entrepreneurial gig as it may seem, because you're in control of your time, you pick and choose when you work, you're not in control of your income. And as crazy as this business that we're in, it's actually pretty predictable if you know what you're doing. It's more predictable than anything that I've ever been in, even in a job, the 9-to-5 thing with the restaurant gig, because even like we said, you don't know what you're getting paid, you don't know when you're getting paid, you don't know any of that. So we ended up coming across this beautiful opportunity that led us now to where I'm able to, it gets me just so excited to talk about it, because it's now I'm able to be at home with my family every single day doing something that we love, which is being in front of people like you, sharing strategies that are going to help you guys make more money in your business. Mm-hmm. And the reason why we know that, and no income's guaranteed, we're not going to guarantee you that, because you still have to go out there and do it. But we know that this is going to work because we're doing it right now in our own business. Mm-hmm. It's not like we did it and now we stopped doing it. No, this is things that we're currently working in our business. And it's a joy to just be in front of you guys, to be able to share these things, because we know it's going to impact you in a way that maybe no one else is teaching you. And that's why we want to be in front of you today. So before I just blabber on for another hour, I'll let Sara, introduce herself, because this is a woman who knows where she's going and knows what she wants. And she's been able to teach me a lot about these free strategies that we're going to teach you today. So.
Okay. Well, I'm Sara, and I come from Texas. He's a native Las Vegas boy. He was born and raised here. I was not. I'm from a totally different country, and it's called Texas, for anyone who knows. And the reason I ended up here in Vegas is because I was very similar to Brandon in the aspect of, I've always worked in either the food service industry or in the childcare industry, because those were the only two things that I've ever really known. And once you get comfortable with a certain type of work, it kind of starts to feel as though that's all you'll really ever be good at, because that's all you do. Does that make sense? It's kind of like a vicious little cycle. And so because I was always taking care of kids, I'm second oldest of 5 kids. My family tree is ridiculously big. There's a lot of kids in our family. And so, since the age of 9, I've been watching kids. And if I wasn't watching kids, and I wasn't working at restaurants, I was always, substituting as pre-K teachers in various private pre-K schools, private nannying, things like that. And so the one thing I knew growing up was that I did not want to go to college. I wouldn't have minded having the experience, getting all of that social interaction and having those, debates and things like that. But in terms of the actual college, no. So, but that's it. I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I actually wanted. And many of us come to that point of realization where it's okay, well, I know what I don't want. And we focus on that, but we don't take the time to realize that just because you know what you don't want, that it doesn't necessarily mean that you know what you do want. And that's where I struggled with for a long time, was spending so much time focusing on what I didn't want that it caused me to go in the completely wrong direction. And I ended up homeless in California for about 6 months, which is not fun. True story. And yes, and it was during wintertime, super cold. we're talking like the experiences that I had during my homeless time in California definitely opened my eyes, because, you know, the whole reason why I went to California in the first place was because I wanted something different for myself. I wanted to go somewhere where no one knew who I was. I had a completely clean slate and I could just start over. You know, the environment that I was in at the time, I was constantly surrounded, or at least it felt that way to me, that I was constantly surrounded by like all the mistakes that I had made so far. I was surrounded by people who it felt as though if I did try to change, if I did make that attempt to become a different person, that they wouldn't necessarily let me, because they're constantly reminding me of who I used to be, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know, maybe you can, I know Brandon can relate to that. You know, maybe you can too, but it just got really heavy and I got tired of it. And so packed my bags with one of my good friends at the time. We flipped a coin and we ended up in California. And it was all glamorous and good for like the first 2 months. and then let's just say plans are good. I've come to realize this, that plans are good. We went to California without a plan, and 2 months into it is what made us realize that we did not have a plan. And I had to spend that time realizing that, okay, I have to do what I have to do to make this work, because I don't enjoy sleeping in basements of apartment buildings. And, you know, I don't enjoy being, you know, busted by the tenants or the property manager for sleeping in their basement when it's like 45, 30 degrees outside. And, you know, it just wasn't a good experience. And, you know, so I was tired of it. And the only thing that I knew at the time was the service industry. So I went back to serving. And then
right, because anybody could be a server.
Yeah, really
I work with some
anybody can. And you know, so it got to the point where, yes, I was able to get back on my feet, thankfully, but I still was doing something that I didn't want to do. And I wound up going back home to live with my mother, to try again, to try doing it right according to society's perspective. And so I went back to, you know, live with my mom, help her out with my younger siblings. And while there, I was going to go to work and save for a car, save for college, because, you know, college was the thing to do. My family is very adamant that if you want to be successful, you have to go to college. Like, that's the only way really that you can be truly successful, because no one's going to hire someone without a degree. No one's going to give you a high paying position without a degree, all that nonsense. And I was still at that point where it's like, okay, well, now not only am I doing something I don't want to do, but I'm doing something I don't want to do just to make someone else happy. And that can eat away at you. And so I thought, okay, well, you know what? I have a plan this time. And this time I'm going to go to Vegas, because all my friends were going to Vegas. They were saying that it was a great way to make a lot of really fast cash. And so if I just come down for the summer during the main peak of the tourist season, you know, I can come get work, I can stack up my cash, I can go back home, get my own place, get my car, all that good stuff. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll actually plan this experience out this time. And even if you have a good plan, one thing that you should do is also account for unintended consequences, which I did not do.
Variables.
I'm new to planning. Okay. At this point, I'm new to it. But what I didn't plan on happening was not having a job when I got there. Things fell through with the place that I had made arrangements with. And I found myself once again without a job. And I went back to the service industry, which is how we met, because we were working at the same restaurant at the time.
Lucky for me.
And yeah. And, you know, so we met and we both ended up quitting that restaurant job. And just being around him was really interesting, because he was very different than what I was used to. He was, you know, by the time he was 20, he was a realtor, and that just blew my mind. And the fact that he put himself through that education process, not only himself, but his sister as well. He also paid for her to get her license as well, which I thought was not only amazing, but I thought that was really admirable, because he wanted to help his sister too. And so just the fact that he had this different kind of mentality that I wasn't used to is very intriguing for me. And so that's really kind of what drew us together. And since being with him, he's helped me see a lot of the value in myself that I find difficult to see on my own. You know, maybe someone out, you know, someone listening, you can relate to that too. It's really easy for you to, you know, look at someone and see their value and help them find their value. But it's when it comes to looking at yourself and admitting the value that you have, it gets a little difficult, at least for me anyway. And So he was the one who first encouraged me to maybe do something a little different and, maybe consider becoming an entrepreneur. So we worked together and he helped me, come up with the concept of maybe owning a little farmer's market bake stand. Okay, that was awesome, except for the fact it didn't work because like him, I was learning everything by myself. I was learning everything from books that no one was recommending to me. It was just books that I thought maybe possibly could help me. There was really no direction. It was figuring out everything on our own because Brayden was in the same boat. Obviously he didn't have any experience with opening a baking stand. I didn't have any experience with opening a baking stand, and we didn't have that kind of business experience, period. So we didn't really know where to start, where to look, what to look for, things like all that. And it ended up not working. And when we got pregnant with Savannah and he started, he was doing really well with poker. It was kind of amazing, like he said. But yes, he was also right. When I told him that I was pregnant with Savannah, it seemed as though it just made his game go whoosh, because he was spending all that time focusing on my well-being. How's the baby doing? Is there anything that I can get for her? What if something happens while I'm away? And so all of that was kind of clouding his mind while he was at the tables. And so our income became very erratic, which is not dependable for a family. And it got to a point where we were really stressed out and we were constantly wondering, are we going to make it this month? Are we going to be able to pay our bills on time this month? Are we going to be secure enough with money that we do bring in to last us through the month? And there were many nights where Brandon was, up worrying and stressing out. And there were many nights where I was kind of like crying to myself in my corner of the bed because I was contemplating, like, is it possible in the least bit that if things don't change that I'll have to end up putting our child in daycare so that I can go get a job, which
was the exact opposite of everything of our dream. Like everything that we dream about, that's the opposite of what we were thinking.
And we knew that because when we were thinking these thoughts, it was making us feel really heavy. And we knew that because it was making us feel really heavy instead of very light, that it was something that wasn't true to who we were or what we believed in. And, while we weren't excited about it, we also, came to terms with the fact that if things didn't change, that was a possibility, which it was right around that time when we were presented with an opportunity, just like how maybe you're having right now, where you're having that realization that, things are getting bad, things are getting tight, I'm not happy, and I'm ready for things to change. Typically, when a person hits that point of realization is when something will present itself. Something will show you a sign that lets you know, hey, maybe this is something you should pay attention to because it could be what you're looking for. And thankfully for us, it was exactly what we were looking for. And it's allowed us, like he said, to now both be full-time, stay-at-home, like fully present parents, where we get to enjoy every single day, every part of Savannah's growing process together as a father and a mother. We get to have all of that time together to build a uniquely strong family. And it's just been a huge blessing because now we don't have to go to bed at night and wonder if we're going to have to put Savannah in daycare, because that's not even an option on the table because of this opportunity. We don't have to stress about like financial fights between us because we know that we have each other, and because we're building this business together, that we can mastermind and work our way through it because the opportunity gives us the chance to do it. And, one of the reasons why we're here in front of you today is because maybe you've taken advantage of an opportunity similar to what we did, and you're still not seeing results.
Right.
And so that's what led us to coming and having this conversation with you guys today, is because we know how painful it is to put in work, put in effort, put in, time equity and not see the results that you feel you should be getting. And one of the methods we're going to share with you today is something that we recently just came across this strategy from one of our good friends and running mate, Desmond Soon. And it's an interesting method. This is more of a free organic method. I'm more of the I'm more into like the organic traffic methods, whereas Brandon is into the more paid methods. We can go into that into an entirely another hangout, but we wanted to give you something that is only going to cost you your time, but can give you the opportunity to yield really amazing results if you commit to this process.
That's right. It's huge. I mean, imagine what it could do if you had more people who were interested in your product or your service, who are searching for you right now, who could actually find you because you were able to let Google know that what you have is relevant, what you have is worth, is valuable, and it's being updated and consistently and constantly being updated so that people aren't getting outdated information of any sorts. I mean, when you could do that and you can increase your organic search traffic, what does that do for your business? That's what we wanted to share with you today, is how to increase those people to get to your business so that you could then help, or with whatever product you have or service, you know, your back end is going to have to be what it is and your conversions are going to have to be what they are on their own. You know, we do hold trainings for our own team to help with that. But hopefully you have somebody in front of you right now that brought you to this video that you can call that can help you with those if you're having trouble with that. But what we're doing right now with this organic search is, it not only helps you with the organic, but it also gets you to be more in touch with your people that you're helping out. Like with what is exactly the 2+2+ comment method?
Well, that's what that's the name of the method is 2+2+ comment. That's the method we're going to share with you. And this method is
our daughter. Hold on one second. Let me just go get her.
Uh-oh, she's breaking out of her little gel cell. The 2+2+ comment method is a SEO method. And the first 2 stands for 2 minutes plus 2 clicks plus 1 comment. That's what the method is for. And the reason why this method is valuable is because it helps you improve your overall SEO score with search engines and increase your exposure as well as your relevancy. And if you can increase your relevancy within the search engines, Google being in Yahoo, they're going to be far more likely to actually put you in front of the people who are looking for you versus you being found on page 10 and no one knowing you exist.
That's embarrassing and it hurts.
It does. It's really painful. And if you're on this hangout because you were intrigued by the title, then we know you know what this feels like. And it sucks.
I mean, we're not going to hide anything. We made a lot of mistakes in the first year and a half.
We've been blogging for about 18 months now, and trust us, we made plenty of mistakes.
So everything we're sharing with you is out of good spirit, and we've basically been through that already. So did you let them know why it was already valuable?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so why is, because what we're doing today is if you caught what we did, I think it was 2 days ago, we did an interview style where we got a lot of good feedback from that, and people really loved the way that we were asking questions. So we wanted to do it again for you guys. And so
if you guys are liking this kind of style when it comes to our hangouts, let us know. We'll do more of it.
Yeah. And so basically I'm asking her about 4 or 5 questions, and we're gonna hopefully if you have any more questions, anything that we didn't cover, get a hold of us. I mean, we can do a second sequel, to this hangout, or an additional one, or anything like that for you guys. So we have okay, so why is, this is a great question, why is having someone stay on your page for at least 2 minutes so valuable?
Well, because the 2 minutes is in conjunction with your what's called a bounce rate, which is super important. If you guys do not know what a bounce rate is and you're attempting to build a business online, that's a big reason why you're not seeing results, because you don't know what that is. And I say this with love because we were also in that same boat. I had no idea what a bounce rate was, neither did he. But if you have a high bounce rate, meaning you have a high percentage of your visitors coming to your site and immediately or within the first 60 seconds bouncing off your site to go to Facebook, social media platforms, a different website, or open up a different window on the computer, that's literally them bouncing off of your site onto someone else's, and Google pays attention to that. So if you have a high bounce rate, meaning you have people who are not staying on your site that you're promoting or a specific blog post for at least 2 minutes, every person who does not stay for at least 2 minutes increases your bounce rate. And the higher your bounce rate is, the less likely Google is to view your site as relevant, because your visitors are showing Google that they don't find your information valuable or relevant or what it is they're looking for. So they're leaving your page because they're not finding what they're looking for. So if you can construct your site or your blog to where you're providing that value, you're providing that information, you're solving people's problems, and you're connecting and building an authentic relationship, and you can get these people to stay on your on pages of your site or your blog for at least 2 minutes, that decreases your bounce rate, improving your SEO score.
And one example of this, and let me know if I'm wrong about this, but one example of this is when you are going to have, say, your mouse, and you're going to wave it across the top of your browser, right? Okay, and have you ever experienced this where you do that and a pop-up comes up and it says, "Don't leave my page"? Have you ever experienced that? That's a big reason why their bounce rates are so low. is because they're able to keep you there because they're going to offer you something. Before you leave their page, they're going to have a pop-up that says, hey guys, don't go nowhere. Why don't you check out what I have to offer below? And then you're going to go, oh crap. Okay, well, I got to click out of here. I'm going to stay on. I got to see what he's got. And now you're there for at least 2 minutes.
Yes, that is the lightning box. I believe that's what it's called, where it pops up like that. Yes, that is a method that many bloggers use to make sure that people who are moving their mouse away from their page stay on their page to decrease their bounce rate. But that is something that you have to consider if maybe that particular method is something you want to use on your site. You can always test it out, but it kind of depends. Make sure to do testing. Yes, it kind of depends on the purpose of your site. Like if the purpose of your site is to do sales, is like mainly sales, then yes, you do want to strongly consider having this option. If your goal is really to just provide value because you want to share your personal stories, like or your or like a cause that you want to bring awareness to, something that doesn't really focus on monetary results, something that's more just to be out there, then you don't necessarily need something like that because it may actually detract from the people that you're attempting to bring to your site. But again, it is a very successful method, and you do at least want to give it a test to see what your audience responds to or not. That is a good tip.
And so our next question is, why is it important to have someone click on at least 2 links within your post?
Ooh, this is a good one. This one, I will admit, I did not know. Okay, you don't know what you don't know, but now I do. The reason why you want to have someone have at least 2 clicks, if you're providing a decent blog post, right? I'm not talking about like 5 sentences, guys. No. I'm talking about an actual valuable, like good-hearted, chunky post. You should have at least 2 links within your post, whether it's to another blog you wrote, whether it's a link to reference an article that you're sourcing from, or whether it's to link to one of your sales pages. Any kind of link that you have within your blog post is an opportunity for someone to come and click it. Now, the reason why you want to have someone, a visitor, not only stay on your site for at least 2 minutes, but encourage them to click at least 2 links, which should be easy to do if you're providing enough value and you're putting information in front of the right people, then what that does is it increases your click-through rate, which is also something Google pays attention to in terms of giving you a higher SEO score and bumping up your exposure in the search engines. Because if Google is getting signals that people are clicking on your site, that shows that not only are you providing value, but that people are actually interested on what's on they're interested in the directions you're giving them by clicking those links. So if you can have a decreased bounce rate with an increased click-through rate, then Google is going to start to see your site as something that is important. Relevant. People like it. People want more of it. And they will in turn start taking your site more seriously, increasing your exposure.
Which is what we all want as business owners.
Well, I hope. I hope.
And then so we have so now you guys have been told now what is the 2 plus the 2. Okay. So what's the value in comments, and does it matter how long or short they are?
Okay, well, the value in comments, guys, is I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Google does, when they crawl your site to index it and then rank it afterwards, they do actually index and rank your comment thread. So if you've got 0 comments on your posts and they see that, what that tells Google is that no one's engaging on your stuff. And no one's engaging on your stuff because either it's not relevant, it's not informational, it's not entertaining, it's not educational, and it's not valuable, which sucks for you because Google will see that and think, okay, maybe this is not a legitimate site. Maybe this is something that our visitors and our readers and our users are signaling to us through a lack of engagement that they don't like this site. So if Google thinks that visitors don't like your site because they're not engaged, they're not taking the time to engage on your stuff, then they're going to think that they don't want to see it, which is bad for you.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the comment length goes, if you're the person commenting on another blog's site, for example, then no, the length of the comment does not matter. I would recommend, because we're all with reciprocity here. So, we believe in edifying others. So if you're on someone else's site and you get information from an article and it was really good, you really enjoyed it, you learned something new from it, then of course we want to encourage you to take the time to write something valuable in your comments, more than like a thumbs up, like, hey, great job, awesome post. You know, take the time to let them know what they did right.
You put a little bit of heart into it.
Yeah, because then they'll be more inclined to turn around and do the same for you. But as far as you commenting on someone else's blog, no, the length does not matter. What does matter, however, is that when someone leaves a comment on your blog, that you respond with a lengthy comment. Now, if someone gives you a one-liner and doesn't really give you a lot of wiggle room,
gives you the thumbs up.
Yeah, if someone comments on your stuff and doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room to write at least a paragraph reply, you know, then just do your best. But if someone takes the time to write out a lengthy, at least a paragraph long comment, sharing with you exactly what they got out of your site, the exact way in which it helped them and how much it's going to help transform whatever it is they were attempting to solve, then you want to take the time to write out an equally long reply, because what that does is not only does it give you the opportunity to continue providing value through your reply, but it also allows you to continue the conversation, because if you have a long reply to a commenter, they'll get notified of that, or at least typically they should get notified of your reply. And if they see that you've written enough in your response, they're more likely to re-engage. So if you can continue the conversation on your comments thread, Google sees that as a big plus because it shows a lot of engagement. And if you can get a lot of engagement in your comments thread, you're going to get a big thumbs up from Google.
And if you remember how I was getting a little choked up on my words when I opened up this whole thing, I didn't want to give away the secret right here, okay? So that's why I was getting all that. But this is exactly what we were talking about with building relationships. This is huge for building relationships with other people on different blogs and different niches doing different things, because it allows you to take time, read, get involved with them, share your thoughts about what they've provided. And then, like we said, we're all about reciprocity. So all they're going to do, I mean, it's like a guilt feeling as humans. You know, you just know that when somebody does something, you're like, dang it, I got to go read a blog of his now. You know, and that's what we do. So when you do that and you leave that healthy comment for them, just know that that's going to come back to you tenfold. And it might not come back by that person because not everybody digs the reciprocity, but the universe does, and you'll always be repaid.
Yeah, but someone who comes onto that post later could see your reply and see the extra value you gave and then start engaging off of that comment you replied to someone else.
That's true. So cross engagement is huge.
Yes, all of these are like connecting dots for you, provide you opportunity. And plus, like he said, you know, when you give value to other people, that's when you receive more value back. And so, you know, yes, you can view it as like a guilt factor, but, you know, I think a more positive way to view it is the fact that when you provide value on someone else's site, it encourages them to come and give value back on yours. That's support right. Equals support, and value is a two-way street, guys. You can't go to someone's, you can't have someone come to your site, share value with you, and you'd be like, thanks, awesome, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's not the way it works.
Because then what incentivizes them to come back?
Nothing.
Nada.
Zero. So, I mean, and so now that you guys know that, no.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Now
I got trigger happy.
Now that you guys know now that you guys know how to lower your bounce rate, how to increase your click-through rate, why it's important for comments to be there. Okay, so that completes the 2 + 2 + 2. But now we want to know, what's the purpose of using this method?
The purpose of using this method, to tie it all back together for you guys, is to mainly improve your SEO score in the search engines and to help you increase your overall exposure. And if you can increase your overall exposure, that all that does is it gives you more opportunities to continue ranking higher in the search engines, because the higher you can rank, the more relevant you appear to not only your audience, but search engines. And they're going to be more likely to rank you as relevant if you've got a low bounce rate, a high click-through rate, and decent quality engagement in your comment threads.
It's huge. It's huge. So the biggest question that we get asked is, okay, Brandon and Sarah, well, you've had awesome value. This is amazing kind of stuff right here, but can I use this on my traditional website, or do I have to have a blog?
Traditional website? No.
Internet's changing, folks.
You can attempt if you want to use this method on a website, I'm not going to stop you, but it's not really going to work the same way it would on a blog. And the reason for that is because a traditional website is considered, it's considered a static website, meaning that there's not a lot of fresh content coming onto that site. That's why it's static, it's stationary, it's not going anywhere. Typically, the only time a traditional website will update its information on any parts of its website is if a new product is coming in, or if you've revamped a product, or you're updating your About Me page, or you've added like a new phone number. But all of that stuff is like a once in a blue moon kind of thing. Google loves, and I can't stress this enough, they love blogs and blog sites. And the reason they love blogs over traditional websites is because the fact that blogs are always, and I mean always,
if you're doing your job,
yeah, pumping out fresh quality content on a consistent, preferably daily basis.
That's right.
Now, the reason why Google likes that over traditional websites is because that's more stuff for them to crawl and to provide to people, because people are always looking for information on challenges they want to solve. No matter what kind of information you're looking for or how you attempt to look for that information, ultimately, if you break it down, you're looking for information to solve some sort of issue, some sort of challenge. Blogs are always providing that opportunity to solve those challenges because they're always giving new relevant information. And Google eats that stuff up like candy. So if you're implementing this 2+2+ comment method and you only have a website, it's not really going to work for you because you don't have many opportunities for the engagement process. Does that make sense? Whereas if you have a blog, every single post that you create is an engagement opportunity, because in each new piece of content is a section for you to start a brand new conversation. That's why if you are on this hangout and you have like just a regular website for your products or services, this method won't really work for you. Straight up, it just won't.
That's right.
But if you have a blog, it'll do wonders for you.
So what's the solution? What's the solution if I'm somebody right now watching this webinar, and what's the solution for me if I'm not getting enough traffic or organic traffic or exposure inside the search engines?
Well, to be honest with you guys, the solution to that problem, to that challenge, is by getting yourself a blog for your business. And then once you get a blog, it's important that you take advantage of opportunities on social media to plug into what's called blogging syndication groups or commenting tribes. And then, using this 2+2+ comment method. Now, the reason why you would want to get into like blogging comment groups is because these are groups dedicated to helping other blogs increase their exposure in the search engines by coming onto each other's sites, coming onto each other's blog posts, and leaving valuable comments and engagement. Now, if you can find a quality blogging comment group or syndication group that can give you at least 2 minutes, you can get them to click on at least 2 links and provide you an awesome comment, then you're going to be good to go, because every time you implement this on every single post is just another bump up in the ranking factor with Google, which is something you want to be doing.
That's huge. That's huge. So, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I got caught by his beautiful blue eyes. Yeah. So if you guys are on here, if you're on this hangout, and you've really enjoyed what we had to share with you, and you see the value in this opportunity. If not, we'll do what we do with our daughter and we'll give you a knuckle sandwich. But if you're on here and maybe you don't have a blog, but you have a website, or maybe you don't have either one, now is your opportunity to get connected to a blogging platform that's not only ridiculously easy to use, all the tech stuff is done for you. It's basically built for you to where all you do is you activate it and you're up and running within 10 minutes. You have an amazing support staff at your disposal 24/7, as well as access to Brandon and I to help coach you through the blogging journey. But it's also specifically built as a safe place for you to monetize your content. So no matter what you're selling, no matter what services you're providing, well, hopefully legal and ethical services, but no matter what it is, we have this safe place for you to provide that information and not have to take the risk of getting shut down because maybe the site that you're on isn't approving of monetizing your content. We have an opportunity for you to get connected to the exact same blogging platform that we use for our business that's helping us see results on a daily basis. And it's like right here,
should be right
one of these sides. If not, you should be able to see a link below this video, and you can go ahead and activate your Kalatu blogging platform. But for those who take action and activate their blogging platform,
that's right, there's more.
There's a little special bonus for you guys. We have a blogging commenting tribe that we're connected to that we will give you access to. The moment that you start this journey with Kalatu, will instantly help plug you into that community so you can automatically begin implementing this 2+2+ comment method and right away start increasing your exposure and your overall SEO score with Google by plugging into a powerful community.
That's right. And if that doesn't seem like something that you'd be interested in, then I don't know why the hell you're here anyway. No, I'm just joking. But
but it really doesn't.
The syndication group's awesome for you guys. And I don't want to, continue on blabbering. I mean, we've given you an extreme amount of value today. We hope you guys took notes. We're going to be back here tomorrow again. I don't remember what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, but we got everything planned out.
It's on a board.
So just make sure to come back tomorrow. And if you saw the value, then make sure to click the button. And like she said, you're going to not only get the Kalatu, but you're going to get access to Sarah and I. So
as well as our commenting group.
So take action. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye, guys.
And enjoy your day, guys. Take care.